Welcome to Florida Gators Live, episode number 59, and it's going to be our end of season review. We're going to go back and look at our preseason top 10 players, some of our superlatives, our schedule, our predictions. Go back through the season a little bit, but not much to go back on there, or what we want to go back on.
Yeah.
But I think I want to start off talking this, the Jags, man. We really got to start having a dialogue about Trevor Lawrence.
He's elite. He always has been. He always has been.
He's playing too well. Like, the first, 3 drives, every single drive, I was just waiting for him to make that bad play.
Nope.
And it just didn't happen. And I'm overanalyzing everything that he's doing on the play, and it's good, and I'm like, what's happening here? I mean,
yeah,
the Jags
rollout where he found Parker Washington, that was like a oh yes, like that was like the quintessential Trevor moment.
I wasn't saying oh no, I was like, okay, it's be an incomplete pass. So I was third and long, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, okay, I guess we're gonna have to field goal, punt, whatever it was on that down. I can't remember. And then I see Washington's right there. I'm like, I jumped up like, oh my god, Trevor Lawrence. What was that? How do you last week he had another, was it last week where you had the rollout?
Yeah, it was last week. The rollout to Tim Patrick. Yeah, that was last week.
I mean, this offense is starting to click at an all-time level for us. I mean, 10 wins for the first time since 2017. Liam Cohen's 1 win away from tying Gus Bradley 5th all-time in Jaguars wins as a head coach.
Yeah.
But Daniel
10 regular season wins for the first time since 2007, right? Didn't we only win 9 regular season? We went 10-7 in 2017. Oh, sorry. I was getting 22 and 17 confused. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Happy Tyler. Happy Sunday.
Tyler.
Yeah, JLB. Oh man. But no,
always
Jags,
happy Tyler when the Jags win by 28 points. Always happy Tyler.
Oh, for sure. You know it. But no, pretty active week in Gator sports. So we're going to start off by talking about some of our assistant hires, right? So Florida, not done yet. Not actually, how many coaching hires are left to be made? The defensive staff is complete, if I'm not mistaken. No, we have one linebacker coach left. But I think that's going to go to Bam
outside linebacker edge, right? Is still the only one that we're missing.
Yeah.
And then running backs and tight ends on offense, right?
Yeah, yes, running back and tight end is left. But we'll start with the biggest one, the one that people are most excited about, Phil Trotwin. Former Gator, former national champion, all SEC, NFL player, Phil Trotwin. For as long as I've been a fan, basically, it's a couple of years, he's been at Penn State, and Gator fans have been clamoring for Dan Mullen and Billy Napier to go and hire Phil Trotwin from Penn State. He's an elite recruiter, and it's something that we haven't done even decently here at Florida for a long, long time now. So it's really just a big, relief off our shoulders for Florida to finally go and get Phil Trotwin to be our O-line coach. It's something that should have been so easy, but they just never did until John Summerall does it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a big time hire. Like, no other way, to say it. Like, I mean, the Faulkner one, I'm probably a little more excited about just because of what it could mean for the team as a whole. But like, in terms of like wow, this staff is serious, this hire is probably the top for me, just because obviously getting a guy who gets it, Troutwine was on those national title teams as a player. So he understands like the standard, the expectations. And the timing worked out nicely, obviously, because he was sort of out of a job. I mean, not, he could have found a job very easily, but his coach was fired at Penn State. So he became available. Like, I'm not sure Summerall could have poached him for an initial staff had things just been rolling at Penn State the way they had been, but opportunity struck and he had the chance to do it. And I mean, my main takeaway here is just like, how cool is it that the names that are getting like the initial like big names that get surfaced are actually the guys that are getting hired? Like Buster Faulkner was like a huge name, and everyone's like, yeah, we'll see. Phil Troutwine, like big name, we'll see. Well, they're both on staff now. So, yeah, I mean, I think huge win there, an area that I think has been lagging both in terms of recruiting and development under multiple staffs in a row now. So yeah, I mean, I think really optimistic, and you've already seen him get to work, re-offering a ton of kids that he has prior relationships with.
Yeah, that's like the main takeaway. How quickly the O-line position has already in recruiting gotten on a hot, not hot, but like how quickly he's already re-offering these players on the offensive line. So many 5-stars players, a player that was formerly committed to Penn State under his leadership there on the O-line. And the excitement, you see a lot of these kids getting re-offered at the Auburns, Penn State, and other schools that have hired new coaching staffs. And, they're posting it. There's a difference to the post, though, compared to Phil Troutman, where they're putting like exclamation points. They're excited about getting offered at Florida, to Florida by Phil Troutman. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be important to see Troutman go ahead and land one of those big fish. I mean, could you imagine all the talk on Twitter, the fire that's going to be thrown at Rob Sale and John Hevesy, if Troutman in his first recruiting class goes and lands, one of those 5-star guys or even near 5-star players that he was already recruiting at Penn State.
Who was the last top 100 offensive lineman Florida signed?
Richard Gage.
Dude.
2018, if I'm not mistaken.
That's unbelievable. I knew it had been a while, but man. And before that, it might have been Ivy. I don't know if they
it was Ivy. It was.
Yeah, that. So they've signed. You're telling me they've signed 2 top 100 offensive linemen since 2015, and the most recent one was 2018. That's unbelievable.
Yep.
That's
exactly what I'm telling you. Now, we've had a couple players who were close.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Zandamela. He didn't sign with us, but he was playing his freshman year here.
Fair enough.
Maybe you get some credit for that, maybe not.
You know what? It functionally counts. It's functionally like signing a recruit that's top 100, so I'll count that.
And you want to know something? Both Ivy and Garage transition classes.
Yeah,
Martez Ivy, McElwain, and Richard Garage was Mullen's transition class. Like that staff didn't even recruit those guys. That's just wild.
At least Mac still had to land Ivy. Like Ivy was uncommitted. I'm pretty sure Garage had been committed. So I could be wrong about that, but I feel like I remember he had been committed for a while.
Let's see.
I'm not even sure. I'm not sure Mullen had to do anything other than retain.
So he committed October 20th. So he committed like at the end of the season. So before Mullen was hired. That's interesting. Commit. October, that was after McElwain was fired too.
No, it would have been like a week before because McElwain got fired after Florida, Georgia. So that would have been like McElwain would have gotten fired. November 1st or something like that.
He did take an official visit in February and then signed and never decommitted or anything. So he only visited Clemson and Ole Miss. That's interesting. But no, Troutman, it's going to be his impact on getting those high level players here. You already see all these top level kids that are excited about us getting him in. Hopefully we can see Troutman go and get some of these big cats.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably a top 10 offensive line coach in college football right now, given his track record at Penn State. I mean, developed quite a few all Big Ten guys. And by the way, at Boston College, where he was before that, also developed some really nice players. I think he had a first round pick that he developed there. Had a couple at Penn State as well. They have a guy this year, I believe, who's going to be a first-round pick. So, I mean, again, track record speaks for itself. Very good recruiter. I think pretty solid. I think stronger recruiter than developer, but I think pretty solid on both counts. And both areas are areas where Florida's really been lacking when it comes to the offensive line. So, like, again, it's just another hire that, nothing matters until we actually see them out on the field and see what happens. But it's another hire that just, to me, is like Summerall gets it. Summerall understands where the deficiencies have been and where needs to be a point of emphasis. And obviously, I think just the fact that you're getting a top 10 offensive line coach who's also a program legend, I guess maybe legend's a strong word, but you know what I'm saying? I think that just in general shows a lot of understanding and just, again, being able to deliver, knowing that this is a guy that Florida fans would want and being able to go out and make it happen. So, I mean, I think, we'll get into some of these other staff hires. I feel similarly about a lot of them, but I think especially Phil Troutwine, it's just like, man, okay.
Chris Lindstrom, top 15 for Boston College in 2019 draft.
Okay. Yep.
So, I mean, getting a guard to go top 15 in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive there. But no, we'll go on to our next hire. The next hire, I believe, chronologically was Brandon Harris, DB coach or corner coach to be specific. He was a DB coach at UCF. Did you see UCF's defense, passing defense this year?
Yeah, they're like top 25, right?
Yeah, they actually had one of their best pass defenses in school history this year.
Yeah.
In year one, if I'm not mistaken, under Brandon Harris.
Yeah, he seems like a rising star. He seems like a real rising star. So I think this is a savvy hire.
I mean, honestly, the best part about this hire, 2 days prior to him signing or us hiring him, FSU thought they had him.
Yeah. This was a swipe. Yeah. Swiped him.
They were typing FSU is expected to hire Brandon Harris to be its next DB coach. You know,
he was in Tallahassee apparently. He was in, so huge.
It's like right now we're expected to hire Marcus Davis as our next wide receiver coach. Like that's a little less because we got the post from Thamel saying we're expected to hire him, but like they were at a high stage of getting Brendan Harris to go there. And the biggest question with Brendan Harris is going to be, can he recruit at a high level? Now he's young. He's from South Florida. He's actually the brother of Treon Harris.
Played at Miami, former Miami player. And NFL player.
Yes. I would be shocked if Brandon Harris couldn't recruit at a high level here at Florida. Like it's one of those things where you haven't seen it yet, but like come on.
He fits every archetype of like what you would expect a strong recruiting defensive backs coach to be. Like young guy, has done it, former player, knows South Florida. Like there's no sure things, but I mean, man, you got to assume that it's going to be at the very least. I mean, because I guess Will Harris was like a solid recruiting DBs coach. We didn't really get enough from Darren Wilson to like really have a clear picture of that. Yeah. But I mean, I think at the very worst, you're holding serve from what's been like solid defensive back recruiting, good, not great. And I think your development is going to, just based on the results we've seen, because he was previously at FAU. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, he's been rising at FAU. Yeah. He's been at Florida schools. I know it's Florida schools. So.
Yeah.
Florida guy at a position that Florida produces the best players in the country at. So,
and he's under, I think he's under 35, right?
He is. Yes. He was in the like coaches under 35 rankings in this year. I don't remember exactly the rankings, but I know he was on the list there. Also, I will say the one question here with Brent Harris, UCF ran a lot of man coverage. Now, our defensive coordinator, Brad White, Brad White, runs a lot of zone coverage. Mm-hmm. So I do wonder, now he ran it at Kentucky, change up philosophies when you go to a school that gives you a higher level of talent. I do wonder how those mesh. And you look at some of our corners like a Dijon, Cormani McLean, like we got a lot of high-rated corners, guys that you can get those on islands and they can play like that against that because they're their talent level. So I do wonder if Brad decides to, hey, we're going to run a lot more man coverage here, which has annoyed a lot of fans because we haven't ran a lot of man coverage. I mean, when we did with Todd Grantham, it didn't go well, but hopefully we can run it a lot more here. And I know Gator fans have been really pestering Ron Roberts especially because he plays a lot of soft zone, and soft zone can work. And I say it worked pretty well this year. It's hard to say with the offense struggles like how well it could have been, but like it felt like it worked pretty well this year at points. But it would be nice to see us go to a man-to-man style of defense with the talent we have.
Yeah, Florida's defense under Ron Roberts and Austin Armstrong, because Armstrong is ultimately kind of a Ron Roberts disciple anyway. It's been not very aggressive. And I'm curious to see if you see more of that, because that is more the style that Brad White ran at Kentucky. But this is a genuine question I have. Like, I don't know the answer to it. Do you know how man heavy or not Summerall's defenses were at Troy and Tulane? Particularly, I'm thinking of that 2023 Troy defense that was top 15 opponent adjusted. I don't know if you know the answer. I was just curious because I do wonder how much defensive autonomy Brad White's going to have. Like, is Brad White running Summerall's defense? Is Summerall giving Brad White the reins? We don't really know the answer to that question yet.
So according to AI, Google AI, in 2023, Troy Like many modern defenses used the blend, but their mixture was aggressive blitzing out of a hybrid system, mixing zone principles with man-like pressure.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean they used a bit of both there.
Okay.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I
Again,
don't
I was
think
just
Summerall's
curious
going
if
to push
Summerall's.
away.
Yeah, I don't know if Summerall. I mean, Summerall's defensive philosophy might just be similar to Brad White's too, because they were on staff together. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of came up as part of the sort of part of the Stoops tree, less so for Summerall, but still. So that's a question I would have. But I think you also got to assume that he can probably, it's not necessarily his decision what's defensive scheme UCF was running. So you would think he can probably be pretty versatile there. But I mean, look, swiping a guy from FSU that they wanted always feels nice. I mean, makes sense on his end. I think what's interesting is his brother is on staff. Not Treon, I think, but another brother is on staff at FSU.
Tim, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And, I wonder if the brothers talk. And, I don't know if anyone on that FSU staff feels really good about having jobs in 2027. So kind of makes sense from a self-preservation element on Brandon Harris's perspective.
Yeah. I remember hearing about this. I can't remember who his father exactly was, but Harris' father is well known,
coach, right?
That probably is right.
That's where they all played. That's where Brandon and Treon both played. So I assume, could be wrong though.
Yeah, it'd be a good assumption. Next hire, maybe I'm not gonna say it's a bad hire. Maybe like the least exciting hire. Chris Collins for safety coach was a safety coach at Kentucky. It's one of those things to where you're at Kentucky, so you're not going to recruit at a high level. Kentucky's defenses have kind of fallen down over the years. Like, I couldn't really tell you how good of a coach he is. I mean,
produced a first-round pick last year.
He did?
At corner, Hairston.
Was he a DB coach or safety coach?
I thought he was DBs across the board. I could be wrong.
Okay. So maybe he wasn't, maybe he's going to be able to develop these guys. It's a bit of an unknown.
Defensive backs coach and co-defensive coordinator. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he has a lot of experience around him. It's not the most exciting hire. We'll see. I really don't have much to say. I know their second highest rated commit in this class was a safety. So 4-star safety. It's kind of just wait and see with Chris Collins and. You're not going to bat 100 or 1,000. I hope you bat at least 100. That would be pretty bad. But you're not going to bat 1,000 hires. But hopefully he's pretty solid.
That's also if you're willing, if you're in a stage where you're willing to give John Summerall the benefit of the doubt because he's the new coach and he hasn't given you a reason not to yet, you kind of got to imagine that if he's hiring a guy that he knows that comes from a place that he knows that Brad White knows too. I think you got to give those guys the benefit of the doubt and assume they probably know it's going to be a good fit. At least again, until they prove they don't deserve it.
And again, this is still a hire from an SEC school where he's taking a position down. Is he going to be co-defensive coordinator? I don't know how that's going to work. He was co-DC at Kentucky. I mean, I don't know, but it's all of these assistants outside of a couple Billy made are on paper better hires than what Billy Napier had when he was hired here. So Power 4 proven and coaches. So I'll take it. Next, we're going to talk about Marcus Davis. So this isn't pen to paper official yet, but it's being reported by Pete Thamel and everyone that he plans to sign. An Auburn guy said they talked to him and said that he plans to sign with Florida and everything. So it's pretty. It would take something out of left field to happen for him not to sign here. But Marcus Davis, another young guy in the scene from Florida, wide receiver coach. Elite recruiter. It's hard to say how his development is with receivers because Auburn's quarterback position has been maybe one of the worst in the SEC over the last couple of years. But Davis's recruiting chops, his resume speaks for itself. When you look at all the 4-star, 5 stars with Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, you got 2 of the top 15 transfers in this cycle with Eric Singleton and Horatio Fields, and they also had the other 4-star receiver, highly receiver, who already announced he's entering the portal. His recruiting numbers speak for themselves, but we'll see how his developing goes. But I have high hopes for this signing, and maybe we see Eric Singleton come to Florida. I wouldn't surprise me to see another slot for us to go and get a slot guy in. I've heard Brent Davis is really good with developing relationships with these players. I wouldn't expect Coleman to come here, but I expect we'll be recruiting. We've been recruiting receiver last 2 cycles, most of the Billy tenure, to be honest, at a pretty high level. I don't think that's going to fall off here.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think Cam Coleman's coming if you retain VB3, which seems like a given, and Dallas, which is a little bit more of a question at least. But yeah, if you retain those guys, you're not spending on Cam Coleman. If you don't, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I think you kind of nailed it. Hard to really evaluate Auburn's receivers, just given the fact that they haven't had a quarterback. But I think, like, in spite of that, Cam Coleman has made plays. Eric Singleton has made plays. Like, I think these guys are performing about as well as you could hope for receivers who have been paired with just really bad quarterback play. So I mean, maybe development's a little bit of a question, but yeah, we know he can recruit, and he's an Auburn alum, a former player, I believe. And I don't know if Alex Galesh wanted to keep him on the staff. I don't know. But if he did, you just poached him from his alma mater. So, I mean, I think, assuming this goes through, obviously, because it's not official, like Tyler said. But I mean, it seems to me like a pretty solid hire. I think understandable. As much as I think we both like Billy G, we both would have been all right if Billy G stayed on the staff. I think going younger here is I think going younger and a little bit more proven in terms of like bringing in elite talent, although Billy could do that, but I think that's an understandable move.
Yeah, I agree. Rest of the staff still yet to be filled. Some names I know: tight end Trent McKnight, who is the wide receiver coach at Georgia Tech. There's some rumors he might be tight end coach, but there's nothing official there. The running back coach, Derek Nix, also at Auburn, is someone that I've heard we've expected. Kind of surprised he hasn't already been announced or anything like that. But here that the longer it goes on, the worse it is. That the worse our chances are with him. So I don't really know. And then our edge coach, kind of think it's going to be Bam Hardiman, who's at Tulane right now, former Gator. Again, nothing official. Could just be waiting for Tulane to finish or probably lose the Ole Miss this Saturday, but avoid more talk in the locker room like that. But yeah, we'll kind of have to wait and see. But I really like all these hires we're making. I think we got some high recruiting upside while also getting some proven developers. And I mean, Summerall's already putting together a better staff than we've probably had in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was kind of comparing it to this whole process in 2020, going into 2022 with Billy Napier, I think Billy's staff required a lot more faith in his evaluations because so much of it, really excluding like Colbert and Corey Raymond, were pretty much all guys that he was either bringing with him from Louisiana. Is it Colbert? Is it Colbert or Colbert? I generally don't.
Kieri Colbert.
Is it Colbert? For some reason, I thought it was Colbert. Yeah. I don't know why. Okay, sorry.
No,
I haven't heard his name in a while, and then I said it out loud and didn't feel very confident in the pronunciation.
And Sean Spencer.
Yeah, Sean Spencer. But like, yeah, I mean, most of those guys were guys he either brought with him from Louisiana, like Jaluk or Ryan O'Hara, or like Patrick Toney, obviously, or they were guys that he had connections with, like Rob Sale, who had been on his Louisiana staff in the past. And hadn't really, it was like, Rob Sale was like an assistant offensive line coach on a staff that got fired in the NFL. So it's like your mileage may vary on how much you glean from that. But point being, these were all guys that for the most part, you had to be like, okay, Billy, you know them. I'm trusting you that they're going to be good. There's a couple that you have to do that with Summerall, but not really. Like for the most part, these are all guys that have done it at a high, that either have done it at a high level and have proven it, or are kind of guys that are on their way up, but very promising, like a Brandon Harris, a guy who I think would really just fits the program well, given who he is, where he's from. I think everything makes a lot of sense. It's all fairly proven. It's all good fits. And I think you're just starting out with a much more serious looking staff on paper than what Florida had with Napier in 22.
And I'll end it off by saying this, kind of forgot. There is a chance Faulkner is tight end coach as well as OC, and we go out and hire maybe like Joe Craddock as the QB coach. There's also, I've heard some rumors about that. I know Craddock has been talking to multiple places right now. He hasn't decided anything yet, but yeah, Faulkner could be tight end coach NOC, and then Craddock or somebody else could be quarterback coach.
I'd be okay. I mean, I think Faulkner's quarterback bona fides are pretty clear. I mean, obviously turned Haynes King into maybe not a great player, but a very good player
A good
in that
college
system.
player.
Yeah. And then obviously Stetson was one of the more impressive developmental projects we've seen at the quarterback position in a while in college football, honestly, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I mean, I think Craddock too, like helped develop Darian Mensah, who is very good.
Yeah.
I think did really good. I think all things considered did a really good job with Retzlaff this year, considering Retzlaff was a guy who came in August or whatever. I think that ended up being pretty good. I mean, they've had a pretty solid offense this year, even though Retzlaff's not being like prolific. But the point being, I think Craddock, I'm glad Craddock's not the OC. I think they needed a real proven power conference OC hire. But with that being said, I think Craddock is a good coach. And if he finds his way on the staff, I think that's all. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Get that away. Yeah, but I mean, staffing hires have been great. Something I want to mention here. Apparently, 4-star defensive lineman in the class of 2026, Dylan Berryman from Monroe, Louisiana, recently decommitted from Texas, ranked 199th on 247. Apparently, he's setting up a visit with Florida. D-line is a position that we only took one of with our D-tackle, I should say, is a position we only took one of with Kendall Gervil. Go get another top 200 rated player. I mean, that'd be pretty impressive. And also a guy from Louisiana in Dylan Berrymon. I'd be happy with that. I don't know when the visit is or what's going to come with that. But, I mean, hey, this staff is already going out there and getting some guys. I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Sorry, did you, 20, is it 26 or 27 guys? Sorry.
26.
27.
He's unsigned.
Signing in the normal period. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious how aggressive Florida's going to be in trying to add to their class in the regular signing period. Because, I mean, it's already a relatively full class. Plus, I would expect Florida's going to be pretty active in the portal. I mean, some of that's going to depend on who they retain and who they don't. But I think even if they retain most of the names we're hoping they're going to retain, I still think you're going to see Florida be pretty active in the transfer portal. So.
Yeah, I'll say Barramon's already is 6'2", 330 pounds. Now, I don't know how much of that is good or bad weight. But, I mean, that size, look, it's good size to be, if you're going to be someone who's SEC ready day one, could be someone like that. Decommitted from Texas on November 5th. Nebraska offered him November 10th, okay? That's weird there, but apparently he's going to be taking a visit here. Would be a nice get if to still be active. But as you mentioned, yeah, I expect we're still going to be pretty active in the transfer portal and D-tackle. I hope we go out there and get. I know John Walker has announced that he's going to be entering the transfer portal. Former top 100 recruit, big Florida target, went to UCF. He's had some injuries, played pretty well when he's been able to play. That's a name that if we want him, I think there's a decent chance we go and get him.
Yeah, I think defensively, I don't think you're going to see, again, if Baugh comes back, if Dallas comes back, I don't think you're going to see a lot of like skill position player portaling. I think you'll see some offensive line portaling, but yeah, I think defensively you could see a lot of potential portal additions. I think you could see multiple guys on the defensive line. I think you probably will see multiple guys in the secondary.
Oh,
could
yeah.
even see a lot. I think could even see a linebacker. I think, there's been a lot of chatter about Pup Howard transferring. So we'll see if that actually happens.
Arkansas linebacker, who's former top 100 recruit, came down like Arkansas. Florida almost flipped him. Just entered the portal. Name's escaping my mind. Let me find it real quick. You can't be too far down the list of highest ranked players in the portal. As a top 100 recruit and all. But no way he's that low.
This comment real quick. Which assistant do you guys like the best that we just got from me? It's Troutwine. I would agree with that. I would agree it's Troutwine. And then Steel Gator says Troutwine best besides OC and DC. Frankly, like I think there's a case to be made that in terms of like what is the most sure thing hire, I think you could argue Troutwine's even better than Faulkner. I mean, there's obviously more variables with an OC in general. I think Faulkner's track record is really good, but it's not like a just this is an elite offensive mind track record. I think it's really promising, but there's some questions there. To me, Troutwine is like so cut and dry. You just got a top 10 coach in the position in the sport, and he's a Florida alum. I mean, just like compare when you see these guys posting their pictures of Florida reoffering them, they're always there. I saw there was one guy specifically that did this, but they're all doing it. Like they're posting the the schools that are offering them, they're posting like the logo. Well, for the Gators, they're posting Phil Troutwine in uniform. Like that is just a really unique pitch to be like, come play for me at the school where I was an all-American, definitely all SEC.
Was all SEC.
He was for sure all SEC. I can't remember if he was all American or not, but whatever. Point being, where I was a two-time national champion and all SEC player. So yeah, I think Troutwine is the biggest, just complete grand slam. Can't miss. Like I would be shocked if that's anything but spectacular.
Yeah, he was only first and second team all SEC. Also, but a starter on 2 national championship teams. But couldn't get that all American, so it kind of sucks. But no, it's honestly also a bit shocking. I mean, he obviously played in the for us and won 2 titles in the late 2000s. It feels he's only 39. It felt like he was at Penn State for a long time.
He's only been there since 2020, right?
Yeah, because 2019 was Boston College. 2020.
He was with Adazio. Yeah, he was with Adazio at Boston College, who obviously Adazio was his college position coach. So that makes some sense. But yeah, so he went there and then ended up getting hired at Penn State because he was good. I think that was after Adazio got fired, but that was like a positive poach. Like that was he was good at Boston College and he got rewarded with a better job.
Makes sense, but yeah, definitely him. And also, that's just I heard we got Texas fired RB coach. Oh,
I hope that's not the case. To be honest with you, I
mean,
they had some real talent that they haven't been able to turn into much of anything.
Well, okay, is it their O-line? I mean, because Weiser went for 1,000 yards last year in 2024.
It might be
their O-line just takes a huge now, or was the O-line carrying the run game last year? It can go either way. Again, I don't think it's going to be the Texas.
Taking a guy they fired only for them to hire Jaluk, which they did. If you guys didn't see this week, Jaluk is going to Texas. That would be kind of a tough look, not going to lie. But I think Nix would be pretty solid. I mean, Nix was obviously the OC at Auburn. Again, your mileage may vary on how much you want to blame him for their offensive struggles, but their running back position has always been good. They've always had good running backs at Auburn.
Had all first team all SEC last year. And Jarquez Hunter.
And deep too. Like Cobb been good. Alston been good. Like they've had just a bunch of different guys that have been in their deep running back rooms. I think that would be a really solid hire.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next we're gonna get into on Thursday night. I was actually on the SEC channel, Florida Voices College Football SEC channel. We were reacting to the schedule reveal for the 2026 SEC season. And we had some fun on there. We're going to talk about Florida's schedule here a little bit. This is a bit in the way, so I'll remove that. And so is that. I'll remove that for a little bit. Actually, I'll do that later. We can cover FSU up. I think we did this exact same thing last year.
Not relevant to the discussion.
I think we did the exact same thing last year. We're on the schedule. FSU was blocked out, and we just left it like that.
Yeah.
But no, the first thing that jumps off my mind when I look at the schedule is how much easier it is than it has been the last 2 seasons. And you know what's wild about that? On our SEC, on the SEC show Thursday night, they were talking about Florida's schedule and like, man, that 3-game stretch, Florida always is playing one of the toughest schedules. And, I look at it, I'm like, man, this is the easiest schedule we've had in years. Like, kind of just looking at it like that. So we've really been through the ringer to kind of think this is an easier schedule than what others seem to think.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, I think, last year we thought we had the hardest schedule ever. It ended up not being quite that hard. This year we thought maybe it'd be a little easier. I'd argue it probably ended up being tougher. Even maybe than we thought it would be.
And then finished second on the ESPN strength of schedule rankings.
Yeah. So, I mean, you never know. But I think looking at it, I mean, on its face, at Auburn, at Missouri, South Carolina at home, Vandy, we'll see. I maybe with Jared Curtis, they can keep it rolling. I'll believe it when I see it, to be a little frank. But I think it's hard not to look at this, even though like at Texas to bye to Georgia and Atlanta, that's tough. To Oklahoma at home, tough stretch right there. No doubt about it. Tough stretch. We'll see how good Texas and Oklahoma are. And that's what makes this really difficult, especially because like just right now, we just really have no idea what our team's going to look like and what any of these teams are going to look like from a roster standpoint. So it's all speculative at this point, but like South Carolina probably heading for a rough year. Ole Miss probably heading for a step back at the very least. Kentucky, we'll see how good they look in year one, but it's like, yeah, it's certainly more manageable on paper, should be.
Yeah, I mentioned specifically about Ole Miss. I think they're going to have a very, very rough fall off from last year, we'll see what happens with their roster and how it looks, but I don't think that the golden era at Ole Miss is going to be a long one.
No, I think they better hope they actually make a playoff run, because that's the main reason they did that promotion. And if they like get upset by Tulane or something like that, or even if they win that game even if they win that game and then lose to, would it be Georgia? Yeah, Georgia. Then it's like, I hope it was worth it. I mean, granted, they whiffed on Summerall. I'm not sure who they were going to hire on an open market that would be like a slam dunk at that point, but yeah, we'll see. Golding was a continuity move. I'm not sure that's going to help you in 2026 though.
Yeah. I like the way the schedule plays out though, where your first 6 games, right? 6, 1, 2, 3, yeah, are all like, I mean, you could be favored, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're favored in all 6 of those games. At Auburn, maybe not. I mean, at Auburn, also year one under Golish. Now, I'm not that bullish on Golish.
I like that, but I do agree. I think I'm like cautiously optimistic, but I'm not like, oh yeah, this is gonna work.
Like at Missouri's probably the toughest game in that first half of the season for Texas, and it's like, I mean, they're gonna be losing Ahmad Hardy. I don't think
also they're losing Kirby Moore. Their OC.
Oh yeah, they also lost Kirby Moore to Washington State.
So who knows how that's going to look next year?
What's the hardest game in that first half of the schedule? I think Ole Miss is going to be bad. I think Ole Miss. I
think it's at Auburn. Really, I think it's at Auburn.
Yeah.
Just because, first of all, that's just a tough place to play. Jordan-Hare's a really good environment. That's a tough. They get, even when they're bad, they're kind of like Florida in that sense, where no matter what the state of the team is, they're going to be there and they're going to be fired up. So that's going to be tough. Plus, like, I mean, there's some bad blood there. Like, they wanted Summerall badly. They wanted Summerall way more badly than the average Auburn fan wanted Summerall way more badly than the average Florida fan wanted Summerall. So, there's a bit of a, like, this is kind of going to be the version of this. I mean, it's going to be like that with Lane too, obviously, but this is, I think, in similar ways, the version of Napier versus Brian Kelly, where it's just like, Auburn really wanted this guy and ended up not working out. Okay, who's gonna, is Florida going to look like the winner for stealing him away, or is Auburn going to look like the winner because they ended up with Galesh? But so I think that game, there's going to be some like narrative to that. First SEC game's tough. Florida doesn't play what should be a tough. I mean, if FAU's a test, then we might have some problems on our hands. Yeah. So we won't really know how good Florida is until we get to that game on the road, which, like I said, always a tough place to play.
Yeah, I will say Auburn, we will know a little bit about Auburn. We'll know more about Auburn than Auburn knows about us going into that game, because Auburn does play Baylor in Mercedes-Benz. Now, obviously, their run game was elite against Baylor in week 1 this year. And then, we know how their offense went after that game. But, if they struggle against Auburn, like, we'll know more about them than they know about us going into that game. So
I also don't really think Baylor's going to be all that good, to be perfectly honest with you.
No, so, I mean, I don't think so either.
But I'm saying if that's a struggle, that tells us a lot about Auburn potentially in a bad way.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at there.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what do you think what's your favorite game on this schedule? Like outside of, Georgia and like Texas, or outside of Georgia and Texas.
It's at Auburn. We haven't played at Auburn since 2011, man.
Yeah.
Since 2011. How is that possible? We've only played them at all once since then. 2019 in the Swamp. I mean, that shouldn't be possible. We've played in College Station I believe 4 times since the last time we
Yeah, that sounds
played
right.
in Auburn. That's unbelievable. So, like, I mean, look, it's not really it hasn't been a real SEC rivalry in 20 years now, 20 plus years now. But like, Auburn beat us in 2006. They beat us, they've beaten us other than 2019 most of the recent times we played them. They beat us in 2007 as well. So like, yeah, to me, that's the one I'm most excited about, just because it's one we literally have not gotten. Also, Oklahoma will be fun because we've gotten to play Texas. We'll have played Texas 3 times in the SEC at that point before we have even played Oklahoma. So that's a fun home game. That's probably the home game on the schedule I'm most looking forward to. Ole Miss will be funny too, but Ole Miss is like less. If we had taken Lane, that game would have been fascinating. Now it's just frankly, I kind of just feel bad for. Yeah, I just feel bad for Ole Miss, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, there's not a lot of like bad blood there on my end.
What is our best home game? Is it Oklahoma, FAU, Campbell, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Oklahoma, and Vandy? Yeah, okay, it definitely is Oklahoma. Yeah. A sad home schedule there, but I mean,
Oklahoma might
hopefully
be all right,
means you have more winnable home games.
Yeah, Oklahoma might be pretty good. I mean, we'll see. I don't really believe in Brent Venables or the direction of this offense, whether Mateer's there or not, frankly, because I just don't really like Mateer that much. But, I mean, they still are in the playoff, and they were pretty good this year. Their defense is elite. So if they can – and I think you can probably expect they're going to have at least very good defense as long as Brent Venables is there. He's pretty good at that.
We'll see. We'll see what they lose on that defense, but I don't have much faith in their offense. I think it's kind of telling what OU boosters think of Venables, considering the fact they made the playoffs. Yeah, their recruiting class was still on the same level as Florida's in a transition year. Now, maybe that's just Oklahoma now. Maybe Oklahoma doesn't have a high NIL ceiling, and they're going to fall down from what they were in the Big 12. But, yeah, I'm not that bought into Venables. Like, I've been an adamant OU denier here this past season on this channel, but we'll see what our rosters and their roster looks like. You'll have a lot of football, and hey, it's gonna be tough after our two toughest games on the schedule back to back before that. But hopefully we can get out of that game with less than 3 losses before you have your cool down. And that's one of my favorite things about this schedule. You have an easier start to the season, and then you go bang, bang, bang with Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, and that you should have a rest. Kentucky's year 1 under Will Stein. We'll see, but I don't know how much money Kentucky's still going to put into football and Will Stein in that program. I would expect that we should be a level ahead of them no matter what this season. Vandy, you mentioned it. We'll see if Jared Curtis can be that guy year 1. It's just it's hard to see it. Losing Pavia and everything like that, and then. Yeah, FSU, is Mike Norvell even going to be the coach come that game? I don't think so.
I'd probably be willing to bet no.
I mean, I saw FSU's schedule, and you look at their schedule, honestly looks perfect for them to go 5-7 again. Let's pull the schedule up.
I'm pulling up a different schedule because I have a interesting question in a similar vein, but I want probably not going to happen. I was going to say what I want to know is Shane Beamer the coach at South Carolina on October 10th?
So
probably
Lenoris.
Lenoris Sellers, Kent State and Towson, and then they have Mississippi State, Bama, and Kentucky before they play us. So
if they lose to Mississippi State, because Mississippi State's got some momentum, they got a bowl game. 5-7, they got a bowl game this year, so good for them. Kamario Taylor, if Kamario Taylor hits, it could be pretty good, or pretty solid, I should say. Lenoris Sellers is returning for South Carolina, or the expectation is Sellers is going to return. They said a deal was almost worked out, so that's good. That's good for them, but we'll see how their entire new offensive staff works out, and can they surround Sellers with anybody outside of Nicholas Harbor, who Nicholas Harbor ain't even that great.
Yeah,
to be honest.
No, he really isn't. No,
he's just big and fast.
We're gonna keep hearing about how it's the Nick Harbor breakout year for decades to come. No, but I think Yeah, that's actually a game I'm glad to see back on the schedule. I mean, obviously it's a permanent annual rivalry, so it's going to stay that way. I mean, I'm by no means like an SEC East purist or anything. I'm not like, oh, we don't play South Carolina every year anymore. That's a disgrace. But it is kind of weird to not have them on the schedule these last 2 years. Like that has felt a little weird to me. Like that's just one that I'm just used to. And it's been some interesting games between us and South Carolina over the years. So that's one I'm kind of low key a little excited to have back on there. Same with Vandy, but to a lesser extent. I'm honestly, I could never play another game at Missouri as long as I live, and I'd be fine. I feel like those games always tend to be not very fun. Even if we win, they're just.
I wonder Michigan with their new head coaching search if Drink was just signed the extension, but Michigan didn't have to pay a buyout for Sharon Moore, so maybe
they can afford a hefty buyout to get a guy to come. No doubt about it.
So maybe that's something late thing. I know Jed Fish is a name that's being put on watch for, which again has a big buyout as well. So
Dillingham's the main one that keeps coming up, but
they're working out a deal. Arizona.
I saw that too. But it's like he kind of has to re-sign because like he's been so vocal about staying. I'm not like, I don't fault coaches if they leave, but it'd be a pretty bad look to be as like definitive I'm not leaving as he's been and then leave. Like that would be tough.
Yeah, it would be tough. But is there anything else we got to talk about in this schedule that maybe we missed? I mean, Georgia, same day as always, is going to be at Mercedes-Benz. So it's going to be a home game for them, basically.
Halloween.
Yeah, it's on Halloween. Going to Texas again, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. What do you make of them? Like, how do you feel about like their direction? I mean, obviously we don't know what their roster is going to look like yet, but just like generally program direction heading into 2026, how do you feel about them?
If I'm not, their recruiting class was kind of disappointing, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
It's going to be Arch. Like, I don't think that's a question. That's a fact. No, it's going to be Arch next year.
Arch. And Arch improved. Arch was playing better.
He did.
By the end of the year.
He was, but like, was he that guy? I don't think so.
Not necessarily, but he steps forward.
I know they signed Jaluk. They're going to try to take a ball. We'll see. I mean, the expectation is they're going to take a chance at ball. We'll see how far they go with that, but
wouldn't really.
Yeah, I really don't know
if he left with them, to be honest with you. And I think Florida could manage it. I think it would suck because I love Ball. I'd love to keep him, but I think it's a loss that Florida could manage pretty easily.
I wouldn't say I'll say I wouldn't be shocked, but it's not my expectation as of now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it like that. But no, I think it's a cool schedule. It's gonna be a lot easier. John Summerall needs to find a way to go 8-4.
Yeah, I agree.
If you go 7-5, it's gonna feel like Billy.
Yeah. And I think the days of not expecting, like the days of being like, well, you can't expect a coach to come in and turn things around that quickly. Yeah, I kind of think you can. I kind of think you can now.
Yeah.
With what the portal allows. Yeah, I mean, I think especially with the schedule looking the way it does. I mean, the 3 non-conference games are what should be 2 gimmies and FSU, which might be a third gimme. I mean, probably lean towards that being a third gimme, but we'll see. So point being, like, there's not like a Miami game in there, that's going to be tricky or whatever. So, or a Utah or something like that. So like, I think between that and the conference schedule just not being as bad as it's been. Yeah, I agree. I think you ought to come out and win 8 games. I think that's reasonable. I mean, obviously it's hard to say right now because we don't know what the roster is going to look like, but just projecting what it should look like given the resources and the guys we already have and are hoping to retain, I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, because you look at like 9-3 even. You look at that and it's like hopefully you can take one of the 3 games against Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma, and that affords you a loss against probably Vandy, Missouri, or Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina with the North Sellers. If Sellers can play at that potential, then maybe he's that guy, and that's a game you could lose. But
Kendall Briles was an interesting hire. I mean, I'm we can get into whether Kendall Briles should be coaching in college football, but he's got a pretty good track record. So that seems like a solid, probably an upgrade from Mike Shula at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I'm excited. we'll have our transfer portal is going to be opening now in about two and a half weeks now. So we're going to be able to figure out what we're going to do with this roster and what these opponents are going to do with their roster. So I'm glad to see it was revealed. It's always fun to see their schedule review. And another thing, I kind of just thought now we're going to 2 bye weeks a year. Like, I don't know if that was just me.
I did too. Is that not? Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's not.
No, it's based on the time of the year. Like the first, it's some weird stuff.
Oh, because the first weekend is like rather than being August 31st like it was this year, it's like the first weekend of September.
Something like that.
Or like, yeah. It's like several days later in the cycle. Yeah, okay, that makes sense actually.
So yeah, I think the bye week always gonna be before Georgia, just the perfect time, about halfway through the season, one game difference, but I don't mind it. But yeah, I'm already counting. Well, I haven't actually, but I'm already ready to count down the days until the season starts.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully, like this should be a more eventful off season than we've had under Billy. I think just by necessity. Like I think Florida will need to portal because we still don't really have a good picture. And like even if you keep all the big names that we're talking about, you're certainly going to lose some depth. So like I think there's going to be a lot of turnover still to come with this roster. And so it's going to be exciting just because just being real, like Billy's transfer approach was not very exciting. It was slow. No. It was pretty methodical, and I mean that in like a negative connotation. Man, like, why are we as Gator Nation settling for mediocre? 8-4 is not good enough. 9-3 is. It's year one, man. Like, I hear you. If you're saying 8-4 is not good enough, I mean, Lane might have gone 8-4 if we had gotten him.
Yeah,
like, it's tough to win. I mean, the SEC is so good and the SEC is so NFL-like in terms of its parity. Like, look how many teams were 9-3, 10-2 this year. Like, that's really hard to do. A lot of good teams were sitting in that range. So it's like, if we're just a decent team, it's going to be hard to win like 10 games year one. Like, that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. But we will be right back after this quick break from our sponsor.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
Welcome back to Florida Voice of College Football. And now it's time to get into a segment that's going to be pretty funny to look at.
It's going to be pretty funny. I'm glad you did the research on this one because I don't think I could have brought myself to go back and look at what I said.
No, it's time to get into our end of season review. We're going to go back and look at our preseason predictions. We have our top 10 players. I have our superlatives. I remember our records, I know, from the top of my head. But let's kind of just start. Let's look at our records. Before the season, I picked us to go 10-2, with our losses being to Texas and Texas A&M, which, went 1-1. 50% right there. We beat
that is funny that we won one of the games you had us losing in a 10-2 finish. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. You did the same, or in a
I guess that's right.
Finish.
I did too. That's true.
Yeah. I know you had Texas, Georgia, and who was your other loss?
LSU.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we were pretty wrong there because obviously our 4 wins ended up being LIU, Texas, FSU, and Mississippi State.
Hilarious, by the way, that it's FSU, Mississippi State, Long Island, and Texas.
Yeah, of course, naturally. How y'all predicted it to go. But no, it's sad to see that. But let's look at our top 10s here. I have our top 10s from last season. I was glad I just randomly stumbled upon these because I wasn't gonna go back and look at it. It was just in the document that came up when I opened Docs. So I'm looking at mine. I'm looking at yours. I'll say one of us had a worse top 2 than the other.
Yeah.
So you had DJ Lagway at 1.
That's just tough. Like that.
Yeah.
Look, we were all wrong. Like we just were all wrong about that. Some of us were more wrong than others, obviously, but we were all wrong about that one.
So then I had at number 1 Caleb Banks. Now Banks didn't play much this year, so it's hard to fault me for that pick. Then at number 2, we both had Jake Slaughter. Jake Slaughter ended up being first team All SEC. Had a solid season. Honestly, probably was the second best player.
He probably was. I mean, it's hard to say because the offensive line just wasn't really a plus unit overall this year. So it's like hard to say like how much of the running success we did have, the offensive success we did have was a result of the center play. Like it's just a hard judgment call to make. But like he was once again very good, once again among the best centers in the country. Didn't really, I don't think, do anything to impact his draft stock. So like, yeah.
No. Kenny, what's up, fellas? Great hirings. Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. That was our first segment. So if you want to get our thoughts on that, maybe go back and rewatch or continue watching from here because we're gonna have some good stuff as well. But yeah, we talked about our thoughts on the staff, and I'll say good preview. Good. Both of us.
Yeah, so both very happy. Both very happy with the hires so far.
So then at number 3, I had Lagway. You had Caleb Banks. Again, it's just like Lagway was bad. And Banks didn't play much, so it's hard to evaluate that one. Then we both had Tyreek Sapp at number 4. Sapp was just kind of uneventful.
Kind of a non-factor, yeah. Like not bad, just not an impact player really this year, which was that was disappointing, and I don't really know why that was the case. No. I'm kind of drawing a blank on like an explanation for that one because he was so impactful last year, impactful down the stretch last year.
Yeah. Then at number 5, so I had the RB room, which was Jackson and Jaden Ball. Obviously, Jaden Ball is probably number 1 on the list, if we're being real here.
Kobe didn't play much at all.
No, he didn't. Really. He played early but got hurt. You know that. So, Ball probably should have been would be number 1 if we were re-ranking this right now.
100%.
But at least he wasn't bad. The RB room wasn't bad, so that's a bit of a bailout for me. You had Austin Barber at number 5. That's probably. I mean, Barber was still second team or third team All SEC.
It's tough because he was worse than we expected. It's like it was a bad team, so like everyone was for the most part worse than we expected them to be, Barber included. But even with that being said, number 5 is probably relatively fair. I would say maybe a little bit lower, but probably still in the top 10 should be. Yeah.
Okay. Then number 6, you had Jaden Ball. A bit lower, obviously.
Yeah, that was.
Should be.
I'm surprised I had him that low because I was still really high on Ball coming into the year. I'm surprised.
Well, you'll see why you got him at 6. At number 6, I had Devin Moore. Maybe a little higher. Maybe he's top 5.
I think that's a good pick. You could maybe even argue he should be higher than that. Yeah.
And then number 7, I had Austin Barber. That's probably about where he finished.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
And then the reason I said you having bought 6 is because you had Jacoby Jackson at number 7. So that probably explains why you only put him at 6.
I think my argument was just that they were going to split the carries way more than they ultimately did.
Yeah. Then at number 8, we both had Trey Wilson. Yeah, I mean...
That's tough.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think either of us expected that Vernell would just be wide receiver 1 on day 1.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think either of us saw that coming.
That's true. Then number 9, you had George Gums. Gums kind of just non-existent, just like
just Tyke Sapp. Just like weird because again, a guy that was very impactful, like getting involved in plays, making not just like doing his job, but like making game-changing plays. Just didn't really see it from him this year for whatever reason.
No. At number 9, I had Pup Howard. Howard just got injured early on, or was injured after last season. And for what I heard, just never recovered. I kind of don't expect him to be here next year. I mean,
no, I don't either.
Injuries is kind of tough to judge there, but yeah. Then at number 10, we both had Dallas Wilson. He just didn't play enough. If he played, that's probably a fair ranking.
He was on track. He was on track to be there. You could tell there was the 3 weeks where we had him 2-3 games where we had him like there healthy playing. It was it was noticeable. It was a noticeable impact. So I think given 12 games, I think he would have been a shoe-in for the top 10.
Yeah.
But I also think VB3 should have been in. VB3 would be even higher.
Well, I was just about to say, let's quickly try to create a top 10 here.
Yeah.
Number 1, Jaden Ball. That's pretty obvious. Yeah. Number 2, Slaughter.
Yeah, probably.
All SEC.
Slaughter was the best player on the team relative to his position. So, yeah. Even probably including Ball.
Number 3. Anyone? I mean, I think this would be a bit too high for VB3. I mean,
what about
I wonder
Miles
how
Graham?
You judge. Yeah, Miles Graham. Yeah, great call.
Because I was going to say, I think we might get into this, but like, spoiler alert, probably my defensive MVP.
Yeah, I have, we have some stuff to talk about there, but then at number 4, Devin Moore.
Yeah, I would say it's either him or Devin Moore as defensive MVP. I think you have to pick, by default, you have to pick one of those two. So,
all right. Number 5.
Wait, would you say VB3 there, or did we already have him above?
We don't have VB3 yet.
I would say I think I'd have to put VB3. VB3 was the best player on your offense this year, best skill player on your offense aside from Jaden Ball.
So we have Ball, Slaughter, Graham, Moore, quarterback obviously no, Rudnick no, offensive line not yet, receiver would be him, tight end, D-line no, edge.
Tight end, yeah. Can we get a lifetime achievement award for Hayden Hansen up there though?
Well, we'll talk about him later on. Actually, it's so then we'll go VB3 next at number 5. Then at number 6, Trace Mack.
Barber. Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, I like that. Especially because we used him a lot. Like we really needed Trace Mack in a lot of those games.
Then number
I think at this point is where you probably slot in Barber.
7. Yeah, I agree.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Austin Barber. All right, then number 8. Ooh. God, this
is where it gets tough because it's like there
Jaden Robinson.
I was like maybe Bryce Thornton. I don't know. Like,
would you take Thornton or Robinson? I kind of like Robinson a bit more.
I do too. I probably
Jaden Woods.
Robinson. Oh, yeah. What does his numbers end up being? Like, it felt like he was a big impact. Did he end up actually really impacting the stat sheet?
I know he tied for leading in sacks, which is only like
okay. I mean, yeah, okay. If he's your sack leader, then absolutely.
All right, let's go, Jaden Woods.
3.5 sacks for a guy that was like mostly a rotational player for a lot of the year. Forced fumble recovery, interception, 27 total tackles. I mean, again, you're kind of grasping at straws at this point. So, like, I mean, he's the best player. He was the best player on the front 7 outside of Miles Graham, right? I mean, is that a crazy take? Yeah.
No, it's not a crazy take. Then at number 9, our last 2, Thornton and Robinson. Is there anyone? I mean, JMS maybe. He's solid year. I'd probably take Robinson at least. So
yeah, I don't think JMS. Nothing against him. I think he was fine. I think JMS in a more competent offensive system would have been a very, very respectable transfer portal addition. He just didn't have the impact, mostly because our passing game was just so anemic for so much of the year.
So, Jaden Robinson 9.
Yeah, I think Jaden Robinson 9 and then Thornton 10 to round it out, I think is fair. I mean, do you agree with Thornton in the top 10? Like, I feel like,
yeah.
I mean, he best player outside of Devin
Best
Moore
safety.
in the secondary, right?
Yeah. Best safety for sure. Any other freshmen who maybe played a little bit less, but no.
I mean, the problem is, like, I don't think Hanks or Jabari Flowers.
No.
I mean, they both had a lot of freshman struggles. I'm not like down on them long term, but neither of them really played to that level this year. Dallas didn't play enough to merit that. No one else really on defense. I mean, there's guys like on the interior that I thought did a pretty admirable job, but no one individually that I'm like,
No.
yeah, you gotta. I mean, like Borreau had his moments. Brendan Bett
Rocco
had
Underwood was third
good and
team
bad
All
moments.
SEC. I'm not putting long snapper on this list.
This is a genuine, like, I have no clue. I know, I'm sure, I'm not saying there isn't a way to, no clue how you even evaluate long snappers.
Yeah, I'll leave that to Coles. All right, but our top 10 here: Jaden Baugh, Jake Slaughter, Miles Graham, Devin Moore, VB3, Trace Mack, Austin Barber, Jaden Woods, Jaden Robinson, and Bryce Thornton. Yeah. Very different. You know, I'm just realizing. I actually, I'll talk about that later. We'll get on to our next part here. We're going to look at our preseason superlatives. And honestly, first starting off here, freshman of the year, you had Jaden Woods. I had Dallas Wilson. It's probably VB3.
Yeah, it's definitely VB3. I don't think that's even a debate.
But Jaden Woods second easily.
No, Woods over Wilson, definitely. Woods is next in that one. I mean, but like, Vernell Brown was the leading receiver, right? By like a decent margin, wasn't he?
That's a great question.
I'm looking at it. I got it right here. He was your leading receiver by more than 100 yards over JMS.
Okay.
And 10 more catches than 10 more catches than any other receiver. The next number 2 in receptions was Jaden Baugh.
Yeah.
Didn't find the end zone though. No touchdowns for VB3, which is kind of hard to believe. But still, I mean, he was over 100 yards more than Sturdivant, and then the next after that was Hayden Hansen with 250 yards. So like no other receiver other than Sturdivant had more than 250 yards. So I think you got it as a true freshman, especially because he wasn't even the true freshman receiver we were like keeping an eye out for. I think he earns it.
Definitely. We got Texas, Rude Wayne, Texas. Get ready for Ball to Texas. Big Gator EJ.
Hey,
it will be absolute 0 in hell before Ball goes to Texas. I love the confidence.
Well, Texas has had all these 5-star running backs not work out, so maybe what they need is like a under-recruited 3-star guy.
Ball was a 4-star.
Was he like a low 4-star?
Mid to low.
Okay.
Like the late 200s, early 300s, something like that.
Gotcha.
All right, next, transfer JMS. It was JMS.
Yeah, just by default, like there's just no other, like Kofi Asari did nothing. What other transfers even played significant reps this year? Because Caraway didn't play yet. Doman, no disrespect, but like the worst punter Florida's had in 10 years, just by default, because Florida's had really good punters for the last 10 years. Next
surprise of the year. So you went with Jamari Lyons. I went with Mekhi Barrow. Who was the real surprise of this season?
If we're not counting freshmen, because I think it's got to be Woods or VB3.
Yeah.
But I think we should not count them. And if we're not counting them,
it's kind of, it might be like Mekhi Barrow.
Literally like
or Brandon Bett.
Is it Cormani? Like he wasn't even that good, but like
no. I think it might be Brandon Bett. I thought he had a pretty solid season. Like I thought he was better than Lyons and Barrow.
Yeah, no, he was. I think our logic there was sound going with an interior defensive line guy because none of them were really proven, but we knew someone was going to have to step up there. We didn't even know Caleb Banks was going to get hurt. But we thought even with Banks playing that someone was going to have to step up there. Yeah, if you're not counting freshmen, probably is Brennan Bett, which is something. That's something right there. Maybe it wasn't like anyone in the secondary. Like you can't say it was like Denson or Castell, right? Because neither of them were.
No, they were horrible.
Yeah. So
Castell was horrible.
Yeah, and
we'll get into that pretty soon, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Next, highest pick. Obviously, this hasn't happened yet. The NFL draft hasn't occurred yet. I had Caleb Banks. You had Tyreek Sapp. It's probably gonna be Banks.
It'll be Banks.
It will be. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as Slaughter's not like an abnormally high drafted center.
Yeah.
Slaughter just probably isn't going higher than the second round. but I don't know how much Banks is stock, because Banks was like a lock to be a first-round pick coming into the year. I don't know if that's still the case.
He's going to be a late first, a second-round pick. Like, I would take that.
I would guess that Slaughter will be more like mid-second, probably early to mid-second.
Mid-second, yeah. All right, next we got most sacks. Now, I had Tyreek Sapp. You had George Gums. I know it was a tie. It was a tie between Jaden Woods and Cameron James.
Yeah, we all had that on our bingo card.
Yeah, so yeah, we were both wrong about that.
Man, no one having more than 3.5 is really depressing. Like, I understand the sacks were kind of like, it wasn't like we had no sacks, like they were just split up a lot, but that's still sad.
Yeah. And then third on the list was even Brandon Bett. So it was number 4 with George Gums.
Yeah.
Who was the highest that one of us picked. And Tyreek only had 1 sack. Oh my God.
And only 34 total tackles too. Like, do you have any TFLs? The stats I'm looking at don't show that.
Yeah, he had 3.5.
Okay.
All right. Next, let's move on. This is the funny one here. This is the best one. Most improved. Do you remember who you picked?
Did I not pick? Did I pick Castell?
You picked Jordan Castell. Do you remember who I picked?
I genuinely don't. I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Jordan Castell. Oof. You're closer than I. I mean, more so Hansen than. I mean, Hayden Hansen's fine. Like, Hayden Hansen's not a bad player. If Hayden Hansen's your tight end too, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But Hayden Hansen played such an outsized role in the offense compared to like what he should have.
Yeah. We were horrible there. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, we. Who was the most improved player? Miles Graham. Miles Graham.
Yeah, Miles Graham probably. Although it's not like he like was coming from a bad baseline, but yeah,
he's a freshman.
Yeah,
but I think it's too objective. I think you just have to give it to or Ball. Actually,
I mean, you could say Devin Moore just by virtue of the fact that he stayed healthy.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So do we go freshman who took a step, or do we go just someone else? I mean, Ball took a step from, we thought he was going to be a good back to being, he's going to be the best returning back in the SEC next year. Mm-hmm. Is that enough of a step for him to be most improved?
Not really, I don't think. Especially because I don't think you can be most improved and MVP. Like, I don't think we should do most improved and MVP as the same person. Especially when he wasn't like that. I mean, he was still very, very good last year.
So
yeah, I mean, I think
more.
I'd probably go Graham over Moore just because I think we knew Moore was good. Like, I don't think. Yeah. I think there were more questions about like if you told me Miles Graham's healthy the whole year, Devin Moore's healthy the whole year. If you told me this in August and asked who I would have more questions about, probably is Miles Graham, right? Just because we had seen.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I think we both were on the same page of like Devin Moore, if he's healthy, is a very, very good player.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll go Miles Graham there. Now, this is a hard one to objectify. It was this most important game. I had you had Texas, I had Georgia. I mean, maybe the USF was the most important game because it told us what the season was going to be.
None of them were very important. I mean, none of them.
We'll say USF.
Stakes. Yeah, I mean, it has to be. No. I mean, it is USF because like USF's the reason that none of the games were important after that one. So like. Yes, that was the turning point for everything.
Or Mississippi State, because it was the game that got Napier got fired after that game.
Even though, it wasn't the game that got him fired because we won. But yeah.
Okay, here's fun now. Offensive Player of the Year. We had 1 and 2 here. So you had Jaden Ball, obviously the winner. We'll say he's the real. I had Jake Slaughter. So we had 1 and 2. We hit it on the net. We hit this one on the head right there.
Yeah. I would maybe argue VB3 over Slaughter, but that's probably not a good argument to make. But I would potentially argue it.
And here, if he was healthy, Caleb. So Defensive Player of the Year, you went with Caleb Banks. I went with Miles Graham.
Yeah, and that's it. Obviously, I think that's
if Banks stays healthy, maybe he's it. But I got Miles Graham. So
probably. I mean, do you think even a healthy Banks? Maybe I'm just forgetting how good Caleb Banks was when he was healthy. Like, do you think a healthy Caleb Banks fundamentally changes much about the defense, because it's not like the defense was a major problem for most of the season.
The
It's not even
interior lacked like that elite force.
for sure.
And if you get that with Caleb Banks, that could change it. That could turn it from a good to a great defense.
That's fair. That's fair.
And, all right, MVP. We both said Lagway and Ball.
Yeah, this was Baugh. I mean, Baugh's the one. Baugh's the only player on this team that, like, if you took him away, this is probably a 2-win team, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it's
2 wins, I mean, I don't think Ball's the reason we beat Texas.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah,
LIU, FSU.
Yeah, I guess, but then I would also argue, like, are there games that we lose that we like? Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really, because we probably would have beaten FSU either way.
Mississippi State,
although
maybe?
Actually, I don't know, man. You know, I don't know if I can say we beat FSU either way, considering he ran for like 300 yards in that game. I don't know if that's a fair thing to, even though I believe it, I don't know if that's a fair thing to say.
Yeah, we can't say for sure, but like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Mississippi State, because we only won that game by 2 and he went for over 100.
Yeah.
But like, that was also a weird comeback thing at the end. Maybe we hold the ball longer and still win it, but I don't know.
We probably just get killed in like a couple other games that were like semi-close, because we were able to at least move the ball a little bit with Baugh. But like,
yeah. Anything else we want to give an award for here at the end of the year? No, we didn't do in the preseason.
Like assistant of the year.
Assistant of the year. Jabbar Jalouk, the fight he had this
year. It's got to be Jabbar Jalouk between the assault and just Ball being really good and then leaving.
Ball being really good at it. But
man, would he have been the interim coach? Do you think he would have been the interim coach if that hadn't happened?
So, from what I was heard, he was most likely named to be interim. So, I think so, but that's also not like 100% certain.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, never mind.
I'm just curious, because Billy made a lot. Like in retrospect, Billy as interim made a ton of sense.
Yeah, it did. It did. But that's our end of season review show right there. What a season it was.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, what a season it was. Hey, season's not over. Our head coach is still fighting in the playoffs now. You know, hopefully they can pull the upset against Ole Miss and shock the college football world. If you're Ole Miss and you lose to Tulane, I feel like you just got to move on. You can't.
From
but
Pete.
Like you
That's
got
the
to
problem
move
is
on.
you can't, because what are you doing at this point? Like, who are you hiring at this point? Because it's not like Michigan. Like, Michigan has the clout to come in after the fact. Michigan can pull anyone for the most part. Michigan can hire a guy who just signed an extension. Ole Miss can't do that. So
no.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really think I think you just go into year one, and if it's really bad, you just be ready to have a quick, quick pull the trigger. So, it's gonna be tough. I will say though, season's not over for other teams. Season is over for us. And I'll be honest, like by the end of the year, I was like, I don't even care that we're not going to a bowl game. I really don't feel like watching this team play in the Gasparilla Bowl again or whatever. But now that we're here, like I was watching the Boise State Washington game last night. And now that we're here, there is part of me that's just like, man, I really wish we were playing like a incredibly meaningless game with half our team available right now. Like there's something depressing about not even having like a game, even though the bowl calendar is pretty pointless. No one really cares about these games anymore. It still kind of makes me bummed that we're not in it.
I'd rather watch us. I'd like to watch us play a 9-3 Oregon State again.
God, that was the worst. That was probably like the least I've ever like cared about a Florida game, because there wasn't even anything to take away from it, because you knew Jack Miller was never starting another game ever again. So it was just like there wasn't anything to learn. It was just completely bad. It was just that Billy year one was tough, man. Everything after the first game was tough.
No, because we were 6-4. We were 6-4, and we had Vandy, and it's like 7. I mean, you should beat Vandy. And it's like Vandy.
Did we beat anyone though? Because like we had lost to Tennessee, we had lost to Kentucky. Like after Utah, were any of those wins good? Okay.
South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina ended up finishing 8-4 with their magical run. After
that was a good Beamer year. That's right. That was a good Beamer year. And then the next year,
but they also had
it was a bad Beamer year.
They also had the They also definitely had to play the Signals for Clemson and Tennessee. But yeah.
That's true. I did forget about that. Yeah, that's 100%. That's 100% true.
Record doesn't show that. But no, thank you guys for watching this show. We will be live again next week, probably having more talk about our hires. We'll see if Summerall is still coaching in the playoffs. If not, I'd expect us to be relatively fast to learn who the rest of the hires are if we don't already know them.
Mm-hmm.
Just happen to snap right there. But thank you guys for watching this show. It was a great one. We'll see you guys next week. I hope you have a great week. Gator basketball got the win over George Washington. Xavier Lee starting to heat up.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll see. But I mean, glad that was a game they absolutely just had to win. It's a bummer that they lost to Delaware, I believe, because that was trending to be a quad 1 win before they lost, which is unfortunate. But
so now it's likely going to be a quad 2. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you again. As always, go Gators.